Hello, my name is Mustafa, and this is my partner Adnan. And our project is cleaning up the world's oceans with ROV-mounted DNN-based underwater laser image recognition. We need to keep the oceans clean for future generations. This is because about 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic waste are in our oceans as of this moment, and 8.3 tons of plastic are discarded into our oceans every single year. And 70% of all of this plastic sinks down to the ocean floor and beneath the ocean surface where it can't be detected or seen by the humans. And this plastic has lots of detrimental effects in animals and in humans, respectively. In animals, it causes shorter lifespans, entanglement and suffocation, pain and injury, and results in 100 million deaths of marine animals annually. And in humans, it passes to them through consumption of marine animals and drinking water, which causes them severe organ problems, obesity, cancer, and developmental delays in children. There's lots of ways to detect garbage under the water surface. The main three are camera, sonar, and LiDAR. However, cameras cannot penetrate the water surface. Sonar has no visual of the object and is harmful to marine life, and LiDAR has strong reflections from the water's surface which makes imaging challenging. And the purpose of this project is to develop a technique for detecting and identifying garbage underwater using laser imaging. We hypothesize that lasers mounted on an underwater ROV can be used to identify objects underwater, but that there are several factors such as the illumination of sunlight, the size of the objects and distance to the ROV, the angle of illumination, and the presence of other biological matter which will affect garbage recognition accuracy. Image enhancement techniques can help compensate for blurriness due to water, and DNNs can recognize garbage in underwater laser images. All experiments were conducted in a backyard pool. An underwater ROV was designed to acquire images from a camera and Raspberry Pi imager while beneath the water surface alongside a laser. A blue tarp was used to make the background uniform as to not let the DNNs get confused. Multiple objects ranging from a metal pipe, which is larger than 50 centimeters, all the way to microplastics such as beads and glitter, which were less than 0.5 centimeters, were used to test the images. We had three main experiments: collecting images during the daytime at three distances, collecting images at the nighttime during three distances, and using real-world variables such as leaves and branches to clutter the image, as well as using direct versus indirect illumination to illuminate the objects. We had two main components in our engineering design: mechanical and electrical. Mechanical consisted of just the ROV, which had four motors to move around, a Raspberry Pi plus a Raspberry Pi camera, a green filter, and a gyroscopic stabilizer inside of a waterproof enclosure in order to make the image acquiring station, as well as a green scuba laser to illuminate the object. We also had electrical components, which were a control box in order to move the ROV around using the motors, and the imaging system inside of the waterproof enclosure. And this is a fully constructed underwater ROV.
So from our experimentation, we found that first, the base illumination of the object was not enough during the daytime at farther ranges. The laser greatly illuminated the object, especially during nighttime. As seen in the first image, with laser illumination, you can clearly see the object through post-processing, while with a lack of illumination, you cannot see anything due to a lack of sunlight illumination for the environment or laser illumination for the object. In conclusion, sunlight illuminates the environment of the object instead of enhancing the illumination of the object. When laser illumination is the only form of illumination, the object is illuminated with little to no confusers being very visibly present. And this is shown through first our image with only laser-based illumination, which resulted in the object after post-processing being very visible without many confusers present, while during the daytime, the sunlight clearly illuminated a lot of these confusers even before post-processing, which then showed up and confused the processing algorithm, in this case Retinex. When it comes to indirect versus direct, through direct illumination, you would find that only reflective points of microplastics would show up easily, and you couldn't actually see individual objects. And in larger objects, it would create a green square that still carried through and confused the processing algorithms used to generate the new images. While with indirect illumination, you can see individual parts of the actual microplastics, and the green square is not present within larger objects. And hence did not confuse the post-process algorithms for the images. The first form of post-processing we use is RetNex, which is a bio-based algorithm, which essentially takes an image as a product of reflectance and illumination and estimates illumination in order to garner better quality images. And in the case of RetNex, single-scale RetNex outperformed every other form of the image, while the second method we use, enhanced scan, rendered all green blocks and had the worst performance of any image. Still, it worked based off the principle that it would create a new image by oversaturating the image and then comparing it against a higher quality image. And if it can fool the discriminator into thinking that it is a high quality image, it is outputted by the system. As far as neural networks, first we used a CNN of 4 layers, which was trained only on laser data and had a 91% accuracy rate in identification. Although larger objects did confuse it at times, it was successful where it mattered in the microplastics, and with more data, it can be much more successful. The second form we use is VGG16, which is a pre-trained neural network and only used laser data for testing instead of training, and this rendered a 75% accuracy rate. And even though it could identify larger objects, it was very confused on the microplastics portion. So in conclusion, we were successful in designing an underwater ROV for detecting and identifying garbage using laser imaging. Neural networks can be used for detection, but are more effective when trained on laser-based images. Indirect illumination yields better image quality. Sunlight illuminates the environment more than the object. And as distance increases from the ROV, so does image blurriness. So we would just like to thank Dr. Mario Kim for her mentorship in making this project possible.
And these are just some of our references.